Is up, Team Icon? It's Coach Cruz coming at you live with some thoracic spine mobility using a foam roller. This is something that I think like 99.9% of the North American population could definitely benefit from, just because we all typically tend to be in a very forward-rounded position throughout the whole day. And just like what I was talking about with the lacrosse ball mobility soft tissue work that I did on Tuesday, causes a lot of issues, right? So your T-spine, or your thoracic spine, is actually this middle portion of your back. Okay, so right here down the center, and it comes across. That's why they call it your T-spine, right? So that, you can imagine if that isn't being activated and mobilized frequently throughout the week, after you've been like this for the vast majority of the week, you can imagine that causes a lot of problems. And not even, yes, posturally, but beyond posture, it will actually affect your breathing as well. It'll affect your performance in the gym, and then affect your overall health and well-being. Now, first things first, before we get into the actual foam roller work, I'm going to do a drill called cat camel. And if you have ever done yoga, then you will be familiar with cat camel. So what you're going to do is you're going to drop onto all fours, making sure that your knees are about hip width apart and your arms are about shoulder width apart, okay? So you want to be nice and tabletop. And then essentially what you're doing, I'm not sure which one's cat, which one's camel, but this is kind of the motion. First one, you're going to raise, I think this is cat, just for the record. You're going to raise your T-spine or your mid-back towards the ceiling. And then the second portion, you're actually going to drop your chest down nice and slow as you raise your neck and raise your butt. And you can see there's a curvature happening in my mid and lower back, okay? And then raise again. The idea of the cat camel or the cat cow, whatever you want to call it, is to move slowly and sort of compartmentalize your spine as you put it into extension and flexion, okay? So the whole point of this is not to move fast. It's to move nice and slowly and feel every aspect of your spine contracted, okay? And because of the lower back injury that I just sustained, I'm actually like on the way down here when I'm contracting my mid-back and my spine. I can actually feel a bit of pressure in my lower back, which tells me that I gotta do more mobility. Okay. All right, now that we've done a bit of cat camels, this is a form of release that I do for my T-spine with the foam roller. Now, I cannot legally recommend for you to do this just because it is technically a chiropractic adjustment, okay? So this is a trick I've actually picked up over the years from a few of my chiros now, actually. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna place the foam roller at about T-spine level, so in your mid-back, okay? You're gonna lay on it at your mid-back. Now, once it is on your mid-back, you're going to take your hands and you're going to cradle the back of your head, okay? My fingers are intertwined. Let me give you a different perspective here. Okay, just like this, making sure you're grabbing just the back of your head here, okay? And you're gonna cradle your head with your forearms and your hands, okay? Now from there, what we're actually gonna do, making sure that foam roll is again in the T-spine, thoracic spine. We're gonna cradle our neck and our head with our forearms, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna push our chin and our head back into our hands, okay? You're not really trying to pull forward with your hands or anything like that. You're just thinking of pushing your head and your chin back. Now listen. You probably heard that little that was my T-spine, my thoracic spine, okay? Now that we've done that, we're actually going to go into some thoracic spine extensions over the foam roller. Now this, I have to caution you, if you haven't done a lot of mobility in your T-spine before, you might want to spend a little bit more time in the cat camels Just really getting mobility in your mid and lower back through those cat camels. Okay. Then now, when we're going into the extensions onto the foam roller, I want you to actually start a little bit higher. Okay. So a little bit higher, maybe just below your rear shoulders. Again, you're going to cradle your head with your forearms in your hands. And what you're going to think of doing is actually extending over that foam roller. Okay, nice and slowly. You don't want to move fast through this drill. Extend, fully extend. Your back should be in deep flexion at this point. Then what I want you to think of doing at this point is actually contracting your core to bring yourself back up. Okay, then one more time. Extend. You could also time your breathing here, right? So if I'm to time my breathing, I'd be at the top, I'd be taking a deep breath. And as I'm extending, exhaling. Right from there, you should already feel a little bit of release happening in your mid-back there. And then now that I've extended and flexed and extended over this foam roller, just below my rear shoulders, I'm going to roll up. Okay, so that the foam roller is right at my thoracic spine or my mid-back. The exact same thing. I'm going to slowly extend over top of it and then put it into flexion. Sorry, this is spinal flexion, technically, and then this is spinal extension. Sometimes I mess up my anatomical lingo as well. Here you'll notice that it is a little bit more difficult to get full extension. Now, I know you're seeing me fully wrap my back around this foam roller, but whatever your mobility allows for you to do is what I want you to do, okay? You don't want to push yourself past your boundaries. Just feel it out. Notice where it, your kind of breaking point is, and then work within that. Now, I'm going to come slightly below my mid-back, okay? I do not ever want you to do this from your lower back, just because you need extremely good flexibility and mobility to actually do that on your lower back. So typically this is where I will finish off when I'm doing extensions or I'm directing clients to do extensions and flexions on the foam roller. Now, from here, okay, I want you to, again, make sure you're not too far down on your spine. Okay? You don't want to be on top of your lower back. You can see it's kind of like just below my rib cage, okay? At like the ending of my rib cage. And here again, wrap yourself around that foam roller. Come up. Okay. And what I'll usually do is I'll give myself a little bit of a roll out. Once I've done some flexion and extension all throughout my back, leading up to just below my mid-back, then I'll do a bit of foam rolling just to kind of open it up, break down the muscle tissue. Okay. Amazing. My back feels a lot better. And posturally, I probably look, yeah, see, just from opening up my T-spine, I'm actually in much better control of my spine. Now, the last but not least drill that I'm going to be taking you through is technically a thoracic rotation as well. You're going to come back into your cat camel, okay? Depending on where your foam roller is, how long your foam roller is, you might have to extend your torso a little bit more. Now what you're going to do is you're going to externally rotate one of your hands, whichever hand is off of the floor, okay? You're going to place the back of your palm against that foam roller, and you're going to kind of push your hand through. Bring it back to square, push through. Okay, I'm going to give you a top perspective of what I'm doing here. Again, we're on all fours, we're nice and stable, just like our cat camel or cat cow. We want our knees at hip width apart and our hands at shoulder width apart. Here, externally rotating our arm, placing it on the back of the foam roller, extending. You'll probably get a nice stretch at the peak of this. Okay, if you want to hold it, that's completely fine. But the whole idea here is to bring it back to square. And then extend. This is also a nice stretch for your shoulder blade area. It'll give you a lot of relief in your shoulder blade area. But it's mainly to mobilize and stretch your T-spine. Same thing on the other side. And just like everything else we do, you can time your breathing with it. So you're going to take a breath at the top when you're square. Breath in. Then as you're extending, exhale through. Bring it back. Deep breath. And that is all for today, folks. It was a quick one. And again, I have to reiterate that all of these live streams, I'm doing my best to keep very bite-sized and applicable to day-to-day life. So that is all I have for T-spine mobility with the foam roller. For those of you that tuned in live, God bless you. For the rest of you, I do hope you catch this replay because this will help, especially for all of you who do office work, or if you're seated for the vast majority of the day, then having that little hunchback of Cheney syndrome, we want to fix that, right? And this is a way to actually fix that. And I've actually sustained a lot of injuries from lack of thoracic spine mobility, because your thoracic spine is essentially what's responsible for doing this, right? And also twisting side to side. Yeah, shout out to all of you. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your Thursday. For now, Coach Cruz is logging off. Peace, love, and all the protons. May the gains be with you.